Hi everyone, Mia and Aaron seemed to have the perfect life. Aaron was the kind of husband everyone admired, hardworking, kind, and completely devoted to his wife. Together, they were a power couple, complementing each other in every way. From lazy weekend brunches to quiet movie nights, Aaron adored Mia and made sure everyone around them knew it. They had been married for 5 years, yet Aaron still looked at Mia with the same sparkle in his eyes as he had on their wedding day. He believed he knew her inside and out, convinced they were soulmates in every sense of the word. But over time, subtle changes began to emerge. Mia, who once eagerly shared every detail of her day, became more reserved. She laughed less, avoided Aaron's gaze at times, and always seemed preoccupied, even when they were alone together. Aaron brushed it off as stress from her demanding new job, a high-powered marketing role requiring long hours and frequent travel. But despite his reassurances to himself, a quiet unease settled in his chest, a persistent feeling he couldn't quite shake. The first sign of trouble came on a Friday night. Mia had plans for a girls' night out with her friends, and Aaron encouraged her to go, wanting her to enjoy some time away. But as the night wore on, and her texts dwindled to a trickle, an uncomfortable gnawing feeling crept into his gut. When she finally stumbled in late that night, she smelled faintly of cologne and looked a little too disheveled for an evening with her girlfriends. Aaron's suspicions grew, but he pushed them aside. He didn't want to be that guy, the husband who questioned his wife's every move. After all, Mia had never given him a reason to doubt her until now. 2 weeks later, the second sign appeared. Aaron was helping Mia with some laundry when her phone buzzed. A message from an unknown number lit up the screen. Last night was unforgettable. When can we do it again? Aaron's heart sank. He carefully set the laundry down, his hands trembling, and took a steadying breath. He turned to Mia. She must have noticed something in his expression because she quickly snatched up her phone and swiped the message away in an instant. "Oh, it's just work stuff," she said hastily, her smile faltering for a brief moment before she forced it back. "Just a joke from a client?" Aaron managed a weak smile, but the doubt had already taken root, spreading like a shadow over his thoughts. He couldn't forget those words. They echoed in his mind, gnawing at him long after the moment had passed. Over the following days, Aaron began withdrawing. He watched Mia more closely, noticing every little behavior he had once found endearing. Now, those same quirks felt like clues to a puzzle he couldn't solve. His worst fears were confirmed one rainy Saturday night. Mia said she'd be working late again. Aaron kissed her goodbye and watched her drive away, but the suffocating weight of doubt wouldn't let him rest. On impulse, Aaron got into his car, heart pounding, and decided to follow her. He kept his distance, turning off his headlights to remain inconspicuous. His palms felt clammy against the steering wheel as he tailed her across town. Eventually, Mia pulled into the parking lot of a small, dimly lit bar on the far side of the city. Aaron parked a safe distance away, his stomach churning as he watched her step out of the car. Waiting by the entrance was a tall, dark-haired man with a broad, confident grin. Mia laughed as she approached him, her joy evident as she wrapped her arms around him in a warm embrace. Aaron's heart shattered. The sight felt like a dagger twisting in his chest, leaving him breathless with pain and disbelief. The thought of confronting her right then and there crossed his mind, but instead, he turned the car around and drove home. The image of Mia in another man's arms was seared into his mind, playing on an endless loop. Anger and betrayal fought for dominance within him, leaving him numb. Stumbling into the empty house, Aaron was consumed by 1,000 emotions, but ultimately, numbness took over. He poured himself a drink, then another. Each sip dulled the pain just enough to allow him to think clearly. It was in that haze that Aaron came to a painful realization. There was no salvaging this marriage. The woman he had loved so deeply was gone, replaced by someone he no longer recognized. But rather than lash out, Aaron decided on a different course of action, one that would make Mia feel the full weight of her betrayal. Over the next week, Aaron meticulously planned his departure. He quietly emptied their joint accounts, transferring the funds into a new account she couldn't access. Each day, He packed a few of his belongings, ensuring there was no trace of his absence until the very end. He even spoke with his boss, arranging to work remotely for a while, so his departure wouldn't raise any alarms. By the time Mia noticed something was amiss, it would already be too late. Before he left, Aaron booked a suite at a nearby hotel, knowing Mia would likely spend the evening with her mystery man. It was perfect for his plan. That night, while Mia was away, Aaron carried out the final steps. The house was eerily quiet as he moved through it one last time, packing the last of his essentials. On the kitchen counter, he left a short, simple note: "I know everything." No explanations. No apologies. Just those 3 words, carrying the weight of all the pain and betrayal he had endured. After one final sweep of the house, Aaron closed the door behind him. The place that had once been a home full of love and laughter was now a hollow shell, reflecting the emptiness he felt inside. By the time Mia returned, all she would find were empty rooms and the stark realization of what her actions had cost her. Aaron drove away without looking back, the weight on his chest slowly lifting as he charted a new course for himself, one free from lies, betrayal, and the woman who had broken his heart. At the hotel, Aaron sat by the window with a glass of whiskey in his hand. The amber liquid glistened under the soft light of the lamp as he watched the clock tick steadily forward. His mind swirled with emotions, pain, anger, and a strange sense of calm. He imagined Mia walking into the house, her face shifting from confusion to panic as she found the note in the empty rooms. He could almost see her frantically searching, calling his name, only to be met with silence. For a fleeting moment, he hoped she'd feel even a fraction of the hurt she had inflicted on him. At dawn, Mia stumbled into the house, the faint scent of someone else's cologne still lingering on her clothes. She called out for Aaron, expecting him to be asleep in bed. But the silence that greeted her felt oppressive, unsettling. Flicking on the lights, she noticed the note on the kitchen counter. Her heart began to race as she read the words, "I know everything." Panic surged through her as she moved through the house, turning on lights in every room. Her steps grew frantic as she opened closets and drawers, only to find them half empty. The absence of Aaron's clothes, books, belongings, even their wedding photos, hit her like a tidal wave. It was as if he had methodically erased himself from her life. Desperate, Mia grabbed her phone and dialed Aaron's number. The calls went straight to voicemail. Her voice trembled as she left message after message, begging him to come back, to talk, to explain. But Aaron didn't answer. He was already long gone. In the weeks that followed, Mia's desperation deepened. She reached out to his friends and family, only to be met with curt replies or silence. She even showed up at his workplace, only to learn he had taken a remote assignment. Every call, every text she sent went unanswered, leaving her with nothing but the echo of her own guilt and regret. Her new relationship with the man she had betrayed Aaron for quickly unraveled. The thrill that had once excited her fizzled out under the harsh light of reality. Arguments replaced laughter, and the relationship ended as abruptly as it had begun. Mia was left utterly alone, forced to confront the wreckage of her choices. Aaron, meanwhile, was rebuilding his life in a new city, surrounded by new friends and fresh opportunities. He had created a world far removed from the memories of his failed marriage. Over time, the pain of betrayal faded, replaced by a quiet sense of accomplishment. He had taken control of his life, refusing to let the past define him. Looking back, Aaron felt no bitterness, only a calm satisfaction. He had given Mia what she wanted, freedom, but in the end, that freedom had left her trapped in loneliness and regret. Sometimes he thought the greatest revenge is simply moving on.